It's Wednesday night, time again for an hour and a half of news, views, reviews, previews and interviews, treated with the extra touch of detail. A third eye on issues affecting Nigeria and Nigerians, with security and health topping the stories on the desk. Tonight, police intensifies war against outlaws as officers neutralize kidnappers and rescue expatriates in Ogun State. Nursing a sector back to health. Minister and practitioners chart a way forward for better healthcare services. On infrastructural development, Port Harcourt Aba rail service excites passengers. Plus, handshake for progress. The US-Africa 2024 Business Summit opens new areas of collaboration for trade and investment. We have these and other stories, including agriculture, youth development, social inclusion, and sports. Of course, Benny Adams is here to mind his business. Let's do this together. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ray John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. The U.S.-Africa Business Summit in Dallas, Texas is focusing on connecting business interests between the United States of America and the African continent. The Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Chuga, is engaging the United States government on trade and investment in infrastructure. At a high-level panel on agribusiness, focusing on transiting from food insecurity to a thriving agribusiness, the Minister of Foreign Affairs reaffirms Nigeria's commitment in ensuring the nation's agricultural sector is highly productive.
We're here to support initiatives that empower African leaders. The diversity of U.S. departments and agencies represented in Dallas reflect the breadth and depth of opportunities for partnerships with the United States. And this is key because the ideas and innovations that start in Africa will help solve the problems that impact us all.
And you can see how all of this goes back to agriculture, which still remains the mainstay of the majority of Nigerians because they rely on rain-fed subsistence agriculture. So that is why this administration is building on the achievements of the previous administration that did quite a lot of work on growing what we eat. So rice has we became a bit bourgeois, and we turned to rice. So we are growing. There was a presidential rice initiative that saw to the expansion of rice production. Rice mills cropped up. And so now the challenge is to sustain that. There was equally a presidential fertilizer initiative.
Nigerian delegation at the summit is also attending other sideline meetings to attract more investment. Meanwhile, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has organized a 3-day strategic partnership engagement between the ECOWAS Commission and its training centers of excellence as proactive means of tackling terrorism and insecurity in the sub-region, facilitated by development partners. The meeting at the National Defense College, Abuja, featured a high-level interaction on capacity building, policy development, and action-oriented research among member states. The Commandant, National Defense College, Rear Admiral Olamuyiwa Olotu, reiterates commitment to constructive discussions towards expanding the scope of collaboration to enhance regional stability through a viable democratic framework. ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa, said the operationalization of the ECOWAS standby force, which covers the military, police and civilian components, is yielding positive results.
And strategic levels. And as a training center of excellence for ECOWAS and the African Union at the strategic level, the National Defense College has been able to take on this mandate through programs and activities like coordination meetings, training, capacity building, seminars, workshops, exercises and partnerships.
We are working very closely with the African Union on this leg of the issue to make sure that we inject human rights into whatever we do. When you look at the current state of terrorism, how do we need to reposition that plan of action in order to more effectively counter, this threat that is becoming existential, to all of us.
Outcome of the meeting is expected to have far-reaching implications that will contribute to the growth and development of ECOWAS and its training centers of excellence. Now heading to the National Assembly, domestic workers need to be protected from abuse and exploitation. Their employers, too, need protection from the criminally minded amongst them. These are among reasons that prompted the Senate to come up with a legislation that would aid registration and documentation of domestic workers in line with labor laws. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali feeds us.
The Documentation and Protection of Domestic Workers and Employees Bill, sponsored by Senator Babangida Hussaini, elicited comments from lawmakers as they expressed support for the proposal.
In our country today, several Nigerians, in the name of domestic help and other domestic work, are virtually slaves in our country, and there is no law, no measure of government to protect these Nigerians.
This is a two-barrel piece of legislation. It seeks to protect our domestic staff as well as we, the employers of SEM.
We have situations where some domestic staff harm their employers, even kill them.
Many people don't even know those who are working for them in their houses. Some of them don't even know the names of their men. And it will also assist the country in terms of security, because it's a risk to bring people from Cotonou, Benin Republic, other places to work in your homes. It's a risk to your family, it's a risk to your children.
The bill passed second reading and referred to Senate Committee on Labor for further legislative action. The National Internship and Unemployment Benefit Scheme Establishment Bill from Senator Afolabi, seeking provision of safety nets for graduates, also passed second reading.
Provide a framework for these unemployed youth that we have captured to have an opportunity to work, even if it's 2-3 days a week, take them away from the street.
Made it compulsory that once you graduate, you're sure of internship.
Bill to amend Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria Act, sponsored by Senator Adeola Olamilekon, and bill to establish a National Eye Center in Doma, Nasarawa State, from Senator Mohammed Onau, scaled second reading.
To bring the act up to current realities and ensure that ICANN remains adaptive, forward-thinking, and attuned to the needs of the nation.
The amendments are meant to strengthen the institute.
Laws are supposed to be organic and change with the changing nature of society.
The National Eye Center Doma, when established, will help to prevent and treat eye diseases, enhance and train more eye care providers and professionals alike.
6 bills passed first reading, among them the bill that seeks provision of sustainability allowances to the youth, elderly and indigents. Senate paid tributes to late Dr. Bunaya Onu, former Minister of Science and Technology, who died on the 11th of April 2024.
May the soul of His Excellency, a first-class scholar, a bridge builder, a great man of peace, Bunaya Onu, rest in peace.
From the National Assembly, Ami Ali, NTA News.
Away from the Red Chamber, now heading to the Green Chamber, members have expressed displeasure over the security breach that led to escape of Nadeem Anjawala, one of the detained executives of cryptocurrency company Binance, from custody in Abuja. To this end, the House has summoned the National Security Advisor to explain the circumstances surrounding his escape from custody, which lawmakers described as scandalous. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikme reports on this and other resolutions at plenary.
The escape from custody of Nadeem Anjarwalla, one of the two Binance executives being detained for alleged complicity of the company in money laundering and terrorism financing, is not going down well with lawmakers. They believe that the ability of Kenya's police to rearrest Nadeem with plans to extradite him to face charges in Nigeria cast aspersions on national security.
Further worried that the escape of the Binance executive from the office of the National Security Advisor using a smuggled passport is, to say the least, most disappointing, embarrassing, and disturbing as it portrays the porosity of the security architecture of the country to the world.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Financial Crimes, National Security and Intelligence, Interior, and Police.
Lawmakers also expressed worry over periodic attacks on schools in the country and the effect on school enrollment. The House therefore mandated its relevant security committees to interface with all security chiefs with a view to identify how best to secure schools and proffer lasting solutions to various security challenges in the country.
The fear of attacks has stopped many children from ever attending school again. Mr. Speaker, mandate schools to engage the services of private security outfits to complement the efforts of the security agencies in securing the schools.
The Chief of Defense Staff established a functional operational military base in Omala local government area of Kogi State for rapid response to the incessant herdsmen attack in the local government area.
Meanwhile, an ad hoc committee was constituted to investigate the death of a 4-year-old boy, Miguel Ovoke, a pupil of Brick Hall School, Abuja.
The young innocent child was reported dead under suspicious circumstances, which the school was unable to explain up to date. Worded that the parents of this deceased boy suspects a cover-up.
Lawmakers urged the Federal Ministry of Education to expedite the disbursement of stipends owed students studying overseas under the federal government's bilateral educational agreement scholarship.
Such neglect may cause our vulnerable students to stray into unwanted vices.
31 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board Act Amendment Bill 2024. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikmen, NTA News.
In other news, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, says the federal government is working towards the provision of conducive environment for inmates by building modern correctional centers with facilities that will add value to their lives. The minister said this at a meeting with the Senate Committee on Interior over the recent Suleja prison collapse. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed has more.
Suleja Correctional Center was built in 1914 with capacity for 200 inmates, but it has been overstretched to more than 400. Following the incessant prison breaks across the country and the most recent, the Suleja incident, Senate Committee on Interior invites the Minister and Comptroller General of Nigerian Correctional Service for the way forward.
And we also discussed about solutions in terms of making sure that this doesn't happen again. And I can tell you the federal government is in control of this. Everything is under control. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually putting in everything through the Ministry of Interior and the Nigerian Correctional Service to make sure that there's no reoccurrence and we have a correctional center. We have a correctional center that is safe for all inmates.
Committee members unanimously agree that the agency needs more funding to meet global best practices.
The good news is that they have what it takes to retract them, and they have already rearrested some of them, and the effort is ongoing. We are satisfied, very satisfied with the minister's briefing. I believe he's doing what needs to be done But going forward, we have to do what we have to do to appropriate more resources to modernize our prisons. They are made to be correctional.
The meeting that later entered into closed door also discussed overcrowding and awaiting trial inmates. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
Elsewhere, in keeping with the renewed hope mantra, the federal government has pledged to complete all ongoing projects at Doma and Ferenruwa dams in Nasarawa State to increase food security and hydropower generation across the country. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, said this during a strategic meeting with the Nasarawa State Governor in Abuja. Usman Zubeiru reports.
Doma and Ferenruwa dams situated in Nasarawa State stand out as a vital infrastructure contributing to socio-economic development of the state. It was also constructed to address the growing demands of water supply, irrigation and hydropower to the national grid. While underscoring their importance, the Minister of Water Resources said the federal government has mapped out strategies to revive the dams and other water projects in the country, noting that the 2024 budget captures adequate provisions for the Doma and Ferenruwa dams, as well as irrigation facilities and other water supply components across the country. While ensuring synergy with state governments, the minister called on Nasarawa State to embrace the Clean Nigeria campaign for the country to attain open defecation-free status by 2025.
And as we are talking to you now, we have put one or two things in place to see how we can complete the Doma Dam and the other facilities that are needed can also be provided.
The Nasarawa State Governor, Abdullahi Sule, described the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation as strategy in fulfilling the renewed hope agenda of the present administration. He therefore solicited the support of the federal government in developing the dams and other intervention projects aimed at bringing more developments to the state.
But unfortunately, the work had stopped about a year ago. So I think we just want to use the opportunity again to plead with the ministry to look at it again.
The Doma and Ferenruwa dams, which can generate 25 megawatts of hydropower, is more than what the entire Nasarawa state needs. Designated as priority project, which when completed, will be a game changer in the area of food security and provision of safe and potable water for Nigerians. In Abuja, Usman Zubeiru, NTA.
Stakeholders in Nigeria's financial and health sector are together brainstorming on strategies to achieving an economically healthy population. Moplang Dakok reports that the two-day conference is tagged The Road to Economic and Social Welfare Transformation.
The healthier and more educated a country is, the more likely it is to have a robust economy. It is on this premise that the Nigeria Development and Finance Forum brought together government officials, private sector leaders, the diplomatic community and social sector actors in this conference aimed at finding a path to sustainable growth through health and social welfare transformation. Minister of Health Ali Pate says unlocking the health value chain is key.
And healthier individuals are in turn more incentivized to pursue education and to save for retirement. And healthier populations are more impressive attractors of foreign direct investment, because foreign direct investment is unlikely to go into a population that is unhealthy.
The conference submits that policymakers need to champion the cause of sustainable health and prioritizing investments in health infrastructure.
There are critical reforms that we are seeing, many more are required. And we also believe very strongly that there is a need to get citizens to believe once again that Nigeria will rise.
From the regulatory agencies to the banking industry to customs, if we don't look at this holistically, we'll be deceiving ourselves.
Panel discussion centered around how policies can catalyze job creation and shared prosperity, and on revitalizing industries and markets and harnessing Nigeria's blue and green economies. In Abuja, Moplang Dakok, NTA News.
To deliberate on strategies aimed at improving the Nigerian healthcare system, community health practitioners across the country have converged on Cano for the annual workshop of the National Association of Community Health Practitioners of Nigeria. Elizabeth Yila reports that the 5-day workshop has placed particular emphasis on the vital role of community health workers in advancing healthcare delivery in the country.
The workshop, which emphasized on strengthening the Nigerian healthcare system and the pivotal role of community health practitioners, is attended by participants from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Cano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, represented, underscored the importance of the event in advancing community health practices nationwide. The discussions focused on a range of topics, including digital transformation for community workers and ethical considerations in community health practice.
Formerly, I can use the word analog operating medicine. Now want into technology driven in terms of assessing patient care, in terms of offloading our results, in terms of communicating with patients.
Additionally, a panel discussion supported by the Development Research and Project Center centered on harnessing telemedicine to reinforce primary health care in Nigeria.
So we believe that supporting the community health practitioners who have over 200,000 registered members in Nigeria and who are across the 774 local governments serving in the over 30,000 PHCs is the only way to support healthcare delivery in Nigeria.
Telemedicine is just a remote way of treating people where the doctor or the healthcare provider and the patients are not in the same place. So it makes treatment to be enhanced.
The ongoing workshop reflects a collaborative effort among healthcare stakeholders to address challenges and implement innovative solutions for a more robust and inclusive healthcare system in Nigeria. In Cano, Elizabeth Yila, NTA News.
Now time for a break. Please stay.
Get in on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash outs and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 Naira. Betano.ng, the game starts now.
The rains are here again. Seasonal climate forecasts have revealed the possibility of flooding in several communities of Nigeria. Clear away solid wastes that block drainages and waterways to mitigate the risk of flooding in your area. Do not build on waterway. Do not walk through flood water. Evacuate from flood-prone areas to safe higher grounds and report any flood incident to the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA. Listen to weather forecast and comply to safety instructions. For further information, visit www.nema.gov.ng. Disaster management is everybody's business. This message is brought to you by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. NEMA, for the sake of the distressed.
Babies are God's gifts to parents, and breast milk is God's gift to babies. It contains all the important nutrients and minerals your baby needs, including water, for the first 6 months. Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the ANRIN Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
The Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, in collaboration with Nigerian Shippers Council, cordially invite stakeholders and the public to the commissioning of the Funtua Inland Dry Port by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Chief Host, Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, CON. Host, His Excellency Diko Umar Rada, Executive Governor of Katsina State. Date Thursday, 9th May 2024. Time 11 a.m. Venue Funtua Inland Dry Port Project Site, Katsina State. Announcer Oloruntola Michael Olufemi, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy.
Wow! Mom, what's it? Bento Furniture is doing a 50% anniversary sales.
Oh yes, Vento Furniture is doing a 50% sale. Visit any of our showrooms today in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kaduna or Abuja to Vento it.
I'll Vento it.
Think home, think Vento.
That looks good, darling.
I learned from the best.
Flattery will get you far, husband.
But it got you to marry me, didn't it? Close your eyes. I have a gift for you.
Wait, down?
Baby, close your eyes.
Okay.
Bring all the world to you.
This is a thank you for all the sunrises that you've given me all these years.
Babe, now you're going to make me cry.
Don't worry, baby. I'll be home soon.
Every moment, every smile, every emotion is richer with the right connection.
Thank you for lighting up my life, babe. You're a real gift.
It's like every other year, my wife wants to paint, and her own kind of budget just makes me want to faint. 50 pockets of paint? Make it make sense. I'm only dropping cheddar if it's using Santex.
Santex? Yes, Santex. The amazing durability is more than mere text. Rich quality paint within your budget. So make the smart choice. Paint with Santex. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with a smart choice. Santex paint. Santex paint. Smart choice.
Paint your dreams on the walls of your reality. Choose Santex paints for its rich quality, vibrant colors, and long-lasting coats. Available at authorized Santex paint distributors across Nigeria. Santex paint, the smart choice.
Thank you for staying. Zen Bank International PLC, reputed for being a leader in different key performance measures, had its 33rd annual general meeting, presenting its financial status and charting a new way forward with shareholders. Larry Bilei was at the financial institutions meeting and brings us details.
Over the years, Zenith Bank has remained a customer-centric, innovative, and technology-enabled financial service institution. The 33rd annual general meeting was chaired by the founder of the bank, Jim Ovia, with other executives of the bank. Presented to its stakeholders were the best interest rates, financial statements, and declared dividends, and also elected members of the audit committee.
Number of proxy forms has been received earlier for this meeting. The registrar will guide us on this aspect of the meeting.
As at 2023, the bank's dividend had risen to 4 naira as against 3 naira 20 kobo in 2022, while total shareholders fund group stood at 2,323 billion in 2023. Profit before tax stood at 796 billion in 2023, while after tax 677 billion naira.
Annual general meeting, we got 4 naira dividend. That is the highest in the banking sector as of today. So we really appreciate it.
Last year, Zenith Bank in 2022, they gave us 3 naira 10 kobo or 20 kobo. And now this year again, they are giving us 4 naira. I think the expectation is that the shareholders, our expectations are that by next year we hope to get more.
Zenith Bank PLC retained its ranking as the #1 bank in Nigeria by Tier 1 Capital in the 2023 Top 1,000 World Banks, with branches in Europe, United Arab Emirates, and other African countries confirming its international status. In Lagos, Larry Bilei, NTA News.
In line with the objective of the present administration on providing affordable housing for Nigerians and to further strengthen collaboration towards achieving the 1 trillion naira economy, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria says it is deepening its 7 core agenda towards meeting the challenge. This came to the fore when the Mortgage Bank hosted the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria and the Federal Housing Administration at a separate meeting in Abuja. Boside Abel reports.
These two courtesy visits have a common objective. For the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, the need to consolidate on mutual membership among other areas of collaboration is necessary to enhance the standards of competence in training and professionalism. While the Federal Housing Authority, on the other hand, seeks joint finance on takeoff towards actualizing the objective of affordable housing in Nigeria.
Anan has capacity to provide specialized training. We have the capacity to be able to do what will be tailored for your staff specifically when we have discussions with you or with the relevant department that you may delegate to do that.
And in doing so, we are here like Oliver Twist to ask for more. Because very shortly, Nigerians will soon enjoy what you call an housing revolution. And I can bet it with you, with your support. We've gotten backings of state governments, and that's why we've been going around, but we need your support critically to make these things happen.
We intend to upscale these kind of opportunities to provide more guarantees to as many developers as possible, including the FHA, and we believe that this will drive the provision of housing on a massive scale in the country.
At the end of the meetings, it is a win-win for the parties involved in recognition of the immense potential of housing as catalyst for inclusive economic growth. In Abuja, Boside Abel, NTA News.
Many thanks, Boside. Now, as part of its corporate social responsibility drive, First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited, First E&P, in collaboration with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, is impacting the lives of Nigerians through empowerment and provision of quality health care, as well as promoting education. Hingino John Adams reports that the company gave out grants to the tune of over 53 million naira to 5 charity organizations, focusing on the less privileged at its maiden edition of Impact First grant presentation.
This presentation of grants will go beyond the figures written on the checks. The impact will trickle down to the less privileged with focus on quality healthcare, education, and economic growth, all thanks to First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited, First E&P, in collaboration with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL.
As an organization, we remain committed to contributing towards societal well-being and the socio-economic development wherever we make an impact. And we firmly believe in the power of collaboration and community engagement in driving positive change.
The Impact First Award is a testament and response to addressing some of the realities in our nation and support to stakeholders where necessary as responsible organizations.
5 organizations were selected to benefit from the grants of more than 53 million naira after a rigorous process.
I think the first thing that I want to say is a very big thank you to NNPC and First E&P for the nomination and the rigorous work that they did for us to be a part of this. The way it's going to impact the children is we're going to be able to give over 10 children limbs.
Established in 2011, First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited says apart from its services in the upstream of the oil and gas sector, it has impacted the lives of many through CSR initiatives. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Away from the Center of Excellence now, Bauchi State Government has gone far into the rolling out of additional strategies that will help the efforts of tackling the malnutrition which is presently affecting the lives of children. Awal Abdullahi reports that the establishment of a state council is part of the efforts put in place.
The inaugural meeting of the Bauchi State Council on Nutrition focused more
on the effects of malnutrition on children between the age of 0 to 5 years. This is in consideration of how it has become a worrisome situation as contained in the records by the state hospitals.
I want to assure you that the present administration in Bauchi is fully committed to providing the political leadership, the financial resources, and institutional support needed to implement this nutrition strategy effectively. I therefore urge us to develop a comprehensive multi-sectoral nutrition strategy for Bauchi. To achieve that, we must take a hard look at the nutrition situation in our dear state, identify the key drivers and barriers, and put forward an actionable plan to address them.
The Council is expected to work out modalities that will better the accessible process to nutritional food for a healthy society. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
And still talking about food, there was a time in Nigeria when onions became scarce and expensive due to post-harvest losses and poor storage facilities. However, Kano State government is introducing a new technique to farmers to help them keep their onions for at least 6 months. Musa Baba Aliyu will tell us more.
One good thing about onion, apart from its health benefits, is that it also helps in perfecting the aroma of food and the taste. And suya like this is not complete if not garnished with onions. However, onion is the only vegetable that often makes people cry, and farmers cry more, especially when there is glut of the produce without good storage facilities. Farmers over the years employ these crude means to store their onions. The storage facility is constructed with shrubs and grasses with little ventilation and a cover that will protect the vegetable from the sunlight. In spite of its effectiveness, only about 60 to 70% will be recovered, while the remaining percentage will get rotten. If you keep 10 bags in the facility, half of it might spoil, he says. However, there is good news for onion farmers in Kano State. A new storage technology has been introduced in the state under the Kano State Agro-Pastoral Development Program.
So the technology is powered by solar energy and installed with a fan. The base compartment is a hollow. So where the onion is stored, the onion is separated from the ground so that air can penetrate and pass through the air to the base. So once the air at the base got saturated, it gradually comes up and helps to keep the onion neck tissue and the outer scales dry. By doing that, the onion can stay for as long as the period of 6 months.
And is not relying heavily on electricity. It's solar based and it's a modern technology that expands the lifespan of onion, as opposed to what used to be.
The price of onion has dropped across major commodity markets in Kano State. A bag is being sold at less than 50,000 naira as at 1st of May, against the 90 to 100,000 naira a few weeks ago. Now that the onion is cheaper in the market, you can as well demand for a chunk of chopped onions when buying suya. From Kano, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Musa, those pictures are very tempting. All right, let's move on now. Urbanization and human activities are posing significant threats to forest reserves in Ondo State, leading to environmental challenges and adverse effects on the economy. In this report, Abdul Karim Ahmed examines strategies aimed at restoring degraded lands and expansion of agroforestry initiatives.
Reports show that forests are vital and contribute significantly to regulating the climate, providing a diverse habitat for various plant and animal species, many with economic values for industries like pharmaceuticals, ecotourism, and genetic researches. According to an assessment by a coalition of environmental organizations, About 6.6 million hectares of forest were lost globally in 2022, an increase of 4% compared to 2021, and this, experts say, can result in habitat loss and fragmentation, leading to declines in biodiversity and the loss of potential economic benefits.
When the economy is buoyant, deforestation is impacted in a particular way. And when the economy is not buoyant also, deforestation is also impacted in a particular way.
Investigations also identify Nigeria as one of the top nations globally experiencing high rates of annual forest loss, with economic development pressures and the long-term cost often not taken into consideration.
Up till 1970, Nigeria was the second largest exporter of wood in Africa. Now we are nowhere to be found. In fact, we hardly export. There was a ban before, but the ban has been lifted. Even at that, there's hardly anything to export now. So we are losing a lot of money.
While deforestation has documented negative economic impact, some argued the positive economic effect.
It's there we find mining. We have areas where we have mining, areas we have the different species of trees. Obeche, mahogany, all these things will be taken to the sawmill for the purpose of building houses and bringing development to the society.
The economic impacts of deforestation are multifaceted and can have far-reaching consequences.
Experts believe it is crucial to prioritize the preservation of the forest for the well-being of the environment and livelihood sustainability. In Nakure, Abdulkarim Ahmed, NTA News.
Away from the Sunshine State, now let's move to the state of Harmony, where the need to harness the abundant biomass endowments of Nigeria towards ensuring waste reduction and creation of wealth for the sustainability of the country is taking center stage at the University of Ilorin. A professor of chemical engineering at the university, Temitokwe Odetoye, who has conducted various research within and outside the country and recently produced biodiesel from eggshells, is calling for more attention on biofuel technology in Nigeria. Shola Wahid has the details.
A researcher and lecturer, Professor Temitokwe Odetoye, produced biodiesel through the exploration of chicken eggshells as catalyst source. She explained that the conversion process, when completed, will be a sustainable fuel alternative, adding that most of what people consider to be waste could be converted to biofuels for the benefit of humanity.
Instead of using catalysts like sodium methoxide, like using other reagents that we have to buy and maybe expensive, some of them are even imported. So we actually need to do what we can look at what we are throwing away and convert them to this. So and that's why making use of the calcium carbonate, that is the major constituent of eggshell, being calcined and converted to calcium oxide, and now being used as the basis for the catalyst, which is the cheap way of bringing down the costs.
She appealed to the federal government to encourage the development of technology-driven economy in the country, especially in the area of biofuel production and waste management.
The government should be intentional about giving attention to the biofuel policy, to implement the biofuel policy in Nigeria. We have it since 2010 and as a draft. Although it recently, I think last year, the National Assembly considered it for the second time. But it should be fast-tracked, and we should actually start implementing that biofuel policy. And also, the biofuel policy in Nigeria should be reviewed.
Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Abdul Wahab Egbewole, commended the researcher, adding that the feat is in line with efforts of University of Ilorin to develop homegrown technology that will enhance the socio-economic progress of the country.
As a university, we have what we call LabTop, that is laboratory to products. And we're hoping that this particular research will move to 1, laptop, 2, we will register the patency, and 3, we're hoping to scale up by commercialization of the research effort.
Governments at all levels are charged towards facilitating funding of biofuel research to encourage indigenous production. Shola Wahid, NTA News.
Very interesting report there. Now, with the escalating effects of climate change, the catastrophic weather events many African countries are facing today are unavoidable. However, experts say a lot can be done to prevent, minimize and manage their impact with early warnings and proactive reporting by the media. How? Let's join environment correspondent Jennifer Igwe to tell us.
Interacting with journalists from different African countries at the first ever African Union of Broadcasting Summit on Climate Change in Nairobi, Kenya, I realized that increasingly climate-related disasters are bringing nations to their knees.
For the past 4 years, we have had cyclones which have led to disasters, displacing thousands and killing hundreds.
Currently in Zambia, we are faced with a prolonged drought, which has now been declared as a disaster and emergency.
The media may not have a magic wand to stop the onslaught of climate crisis, but we can make impact through deliberate and strategic approach to reporting.
We are confronted with a reality which challenges the way we have operated. The environment and disasters do not operate in the form of events.
We need to start from prevention, both from the authorities and the people. In my station NTA, for instance, we have a weekly environmental program called Environment Matters. So we take the issues away from news and bring the human angles. I present the program, for instance, so I visit the communities, I stay with them. So we put ourselves in the story. We try to connect with the people and bring out the science, and we try to break it down in a way the common man would understand.
These strategies can be better explored if journalists are well trained and equipped. Co-productions too can help, and the African Union of Broadcasting is already facilitating this. From Nairobi, Kenya, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Many thanks, Jennifer. Let's pause here. Please remain tuned. Thank you for being there. Visibility and environmental impact assessment studies for the take-up of Special Agro-Processing Zone Project Phase 2 have been completed in Jigawa State. This was revealed at a joint meeting between the Jigawa State government and a delegation from the Federal Ministry of Finance, the African Development Bank and the National Office of Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone held in Dutse. Muhammad Musa Askira was there and now reports.
The meeting revealed that the visibility and environmental impact assessment studies will pave the way for the processing of the loan for the take-up of the project early next year. While awaiting for that to come, the Jigawa government has already done a lot at the AgroIndustrial cluster, having put in place all the necessary infrastructure such as a road network, 24 hours of power supply and water, among other things. The Jigawa state government is partnering with the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone program, whose goal is to increase household incomes, foster job creation in rural agricultural communities, especially for youth and women, and enhance food and nutritional security in Nigeria.
It's about bringing together processors, producers, distributors in one area so that they could be value addition and commercialization of what is being produced in the state. This will reduce post-harvest losses. It will create jobs for youth.
As we are producing, we are also creating jobs and wealth to creating opportunities for value addition for the produce that are produced over here in the states.
Jigawa State is ahead of time. Their feasibility study is ready, and Isha study is also ready. So now it's left for the bank to go and review this document. And by the grace of God, if these documents are intact, then we are good to go.
The African Development Bank and Federal Ministry of Finance to establish the processing centers in the state to reduce wastages of agricultural products and ensure clean packages of same for export.
About 35% of that population are youth. And we hope that this project will certainly provide an avenue to engage this number of people so that they will have a means of livelihood.
Stakeholders believe that once this is done, poverty will be eradicated and the standard of living will be improved in the state. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The Big Hut is our next stop, and the governor, Sheriff Oborevori, says the Nigerian army has withdrawn its officers and men from Okwama community, Ugeli South local government area of Delta State. The governor made this known to journalists in Government House, Asaba. Tessie Koka reports.
Since the crisis at Okwama in Ugeli South local government area of Delta State that took the lives of 17 military personnel and officers, the people of Okwama fled the community for safety. Now, after much deliberations and collaboration between the state government and military leadership, the people of Okwama can now return to their home.
I spoke with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja, on Monday, 6th of May. And as of today, 8th of May 2024, the military have withdrawn. With these developments, the people of Okwama can now safely return to their homes and begin the process of reintegration and rebuilding their homes.
Governor Sheriff Oborevori thanked President Bola Tinubu and the hierarchy of the Nigerian Army.
Security, as we all know, is shared responsibility. So we will continue to count on the support and cooperation of every citizen to ensure that our state remains safe and peaceful.
To ensure a hitch-free return of Okwama residents, the state government has put modalities in place for an eternally displaced persons camp to be set up at Ewu in Ugeli South local government area of the state to serve as transition to aid their rehabilitation. In Asaba, Tessie Koka, NTA News.
Away from Delta State now, it's been 40 years since the Nigeria Police Force established relations with communities to prevent crime through intelligence gathering. Well, this relationship has been viable, as Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetukun says it must continue because of its fruitfulness so far. The IGP gave this go-ahead at the Police Community Relations Committee's engagement in Abuja. Francis Fom brings us details.
It is a gathering to celebrate 4 decades of collaboration between the police and the Police Community Relations Committee for facilitating open dialogue, community engagement, and crime prevention initiatives.
PCRC of then is now international. We are progressing.
IGP Kayode Egbetukun notes that PCRC has been an invaluable partner to the police in fostering mutual trust, understanding, and collaboration between the police and the communities they serve.
In fact, there is no project that you see at the police station that is not PCRC supported. I want to urge you to continue to cooperate with the police and continue to do all those good things that you have been doing.
Minister of State for Police Affairs Iman Ibrahim Suleiman says the police reform roadmap of the federal government is structured around 5 pillars, which includes community policing, reiterating that PCRC holds a central position in the reform agenda.
As a forward-looking administration, we are now committed to a deep reform within the Nigerian Police Force, backed by the robust implementation plan and innovative resource mobilization and allocation.
I urge the police and the association to be professional in tackling an arrests arising from different parts of the country.
Meanwhile, the Intelligence Response Team commander was honored by the PCRC for the successful arrest of the terrorist commander who coordinated the Abuja Cano train attack, and the FCT Commissioner of Police for successfully reducing crime to the barest minimum.
A plus of the activities, and I'm sure this is a moral booster. Definitely they are going to do more because they are very happy.
The police assures that it will continue to work hand in hand with the committee and other community stakeholders to address emerging challenges, uphold the rule of law, and ensure the safety and security of all citizens. Francis Fom, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in the Gateway State, the police command says it has neutralized 2 out of 6 suspected kidnappers who abducted 3 expatriates in the Mowe axis of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and rescued 3 other kidnapped victims following a gun battle. with the suspected kidnappers along the Benin-Shagamu-Papalanto Road in Ogun State. Yemi Dalemo reports.
The Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alamutu, explained that the victims were kidnapped on the 4th of May while returning to their residence at Kajola Junction, Mowe, in Obafemi Owode local government area of the state. He said that upon receiving the report, the anti-kidnapping section of the command, in collaboration with other police formations in the axis and the local security agents, swung into action, tracing the kidnappers to a forest along the Benin-Shagamu-Papalanto Road, where they engaged the hoodlums in fierce gun battle, leading to the neutralization of 2 members of the gang and safe rescue of the victims.
PMF escort attached to the first bus exchanged fire with the kidnappers and managed to escape with all the occupants of the first vehicle, while 3 Indian nationals, all inside the second bus, without police escort, were all kidnapped to an unknown destination. The anti-kidnapping section of the command engaged the kidnappers in a fierce gun battle in the forest along Benin-Shagamu at Papalanto around 16:30 hours of 7th May 2024 and succeeded in the rescue of the 3 victims on earth. In the course of the encounter, 2 of the 6 kidnappers were demobilized.
The CP knows that 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 single-barrel locally made gun, 1 sword, a cell phone, criminal charms, and 65 rounds of ammunition were recovered, while the likely ransom sum of 7.9 million naira and 1,500 rupees Indian currency were also recovered from the criminal gang. While assuring residents of adequate security, the police chief notes that efforts are ongoing to arrest the fleeing 4 members of the kidnapped gang. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
Away from security matters now, in a significant effort to combat sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has put together a 3-day knowledge-building workshop for police officers. Amina Baba Suleiman reports that the workshop will empower gender desk officers and police prosecutors with the necessary skills to handle such sensitive cases.
Cases of sexual and gender-based violence have been on the increase in recent times. Records indicate that more than 25,000 cases of sexual and gender-based violence were recorded in the country between the year 2020 and 2023. Professor Fatima Waziri Azi, the Director General of NAPTIP, says police officers, especially gender desk officers, need continuous training to understand relevant laws, protocols, and investigative techniques to gather evidence to handle the legal aspect of such cases effectively.
For us as an agency in NAPTIP, last year we received about 1,200, a little over 1,200 complaints. And top on the list was abandonment was number 1, spousal battery was number 2, inflicting physical injury, especially on children, was number 3. Then we had rape, number 4.
This is a collaborative effort to ensure that it's not just kicking the can further down the road. It's that with the police, with institutions like NAPTIP, with the National Human Rights Commission, as they're also helpful in this endeavor.
NAPTIP partners are of the view that investing in training is essential in prosecuting and preventing further victimization and advancing justice for victims.
So we have our gender desk officers and police prosecutors that are meant for this training, and the idea is to build their capacity to respond very effectively to cases of gender-based violence, to ensure that all victims or survivors of gender-based violence get the justice that they deserve.
In 2022, the agency secured 4 convictions in the FCT and 1 rape conviction in Sokoto State, and recently secured 2 convictions in the FCT and 3 convictions in Sokoto. Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
Let's now talk business. Benny is here. Benny.
Thank you. On business, we start with the cheering news that coconut has the potential of generating more than 10 billion naira annually for farmers and agribusiness entrepreneurs, with Lagos having the potential of producing more than 10 million coconut trees with annual production of 1 billion nuts worth more than 45 billion naira. Experts say coconuts can be grown everywhere with the availability of hybrid seeds. What are you waiting for?
If you have 100 coconut trees, you're actually going to be milking a lot of money, because it's not just the nuts. The husk itself, if it's shredded, it comes out with a dust. That dust is compressed into cocoa for farming. That's the soil that is basically used for farming abroad. That shred that is the dust comes out from, it's actually one of the raw materials for our car bumper. Yes, that thread. It's not just only for car bumper, for a whole lot of things. I was told it can be, I think the core also can be used for, brake pads and all that. Imagine on one tree, you're doing broom, you're bringing out baskets, you're bringing out the coconut itself, you're bringing out the shell that can be used for activated carbon.
Oil prices fell on Wednesday as industry data showed a rise in crude and fuel inventories in the U.S., as well as the U.S. dollar strengthened, signaling that demand for oil is coming under pressure. Brent crude oil futures fell $1.11 to $82.05 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell $1.15 to $77.23 a barrel. Both benchmarks fell marginally in the previous session on signs of easing supply tightness and weaker global oil demand from an international energy agency forecast report on Tuesday. Now to the markets. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the all-share index closed flat with a total of 319 million shares in 8,121 deals, corresponding to a market value of 9.178 billion naira traded. Today's data shows 25% decline in volume, 10% improvement in turnover, about 16% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 55.6 trillion naira. United Bank for Africa recorded the highest volume of 80 million traded shares, followed by Transcorp Nigeria 38.6 million and Access Holdings 34.1 million. A total of 119 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 14 gainers and 19 losers. Well, that is our business news. News Extra will continue, but after this break, do stay with us.
Glad to have you back. The National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and the Nigeria Air Force Officers' Wives Association, NAFUWA, are collaborating to advance the rights and opportunities for persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Gufan Shaji Ugwanye reports on this move.
This gathering at the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities is a platform to reaffirm the shared commitment in promoting and safeguarding the rights of persons with disabilities across the nation. The Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association is fostering synergy between NAFOA and the Commission to provide adequate education opportunities for persons with disabilities.
Our visit here is for collaboration in order to ensure each individual, especially people with special needs, are allowed to reach their full potentials. We have a school that also encourages that, so we felt it was necessary to actually align with them and also identify with them in this quest.
Ready for collaboration. Our area of mandate include education, access to quality healthcare services, as well as access to empowerment, as well as social life.
Inclusivity is key. We don't want to leave any segment of the society behind, because we are trying to build a digital economy. So we need every sector of the individuals in our society to be included.
The meeting also witnessed contribution from the Nigerian Communication Commission, NCC, which generously donated 50 laptops to the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanye, NTA News.
Nigeria's solid minerals industry is yet to be explored to reach its full potential. that will increase the revenue base of the country compared to the economic benefits therein. Aimed at providing lasting panacea to the challenges confronting the sector, participants at an investigative hearing by the Senate agree that Nigeria's GDP is expected to significantly increase if the mining sector is fully integrated. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide will tell us more.
Declared open by the President of the Senate, the investigative hearing captured the need to comprehensively review the input and output values of the Nigerian mining industry.
We must dare to ask and investigate why our national economy continues to rely solely on crude oil. Why can't we infuse our economy with the richness of our solid minerals that abound across the entire nation and liberate ourselves from the shackles of oil dependence?
We must scrutinize the current state of the industry and identify areas that require reform, investment, and innovation.
Low funding of personnel and infrastructure, exploitation of mineral resources, licensing of state companies, security against illegal minings are key issues in the deliberation.
These foreigners were shouting about as responsible for illegal mining are aided and sponsored by our own big people. On a daily basis, I get requests from virtually all states asking me to deploy the mine marshals in this area, in that area. They are not enough. We need to increase the numbers. We need to arm them more.
Steps towards mitigating the effect of illegal mining on the nation's economy is information sharing strategy for export monitoring as well as activities of miners.
With the collaboration with the Ministry of Mines, we identified this is a genuine miner and he needs those equipments to come. We facilitate that trade.
The transport and mining marshal is a quarter of the corps, consists of 2,220 operatives specially trained to deal with the menace of illegal mining across the country.
Our state government should be well represented in every conversation of this nature.
Key players agree leveraging on Nigeria's solid minerals potentials for social and infrastructure development is a must, as all hands are to be on deck. From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, NTA News.
Now a brief stop at the Power State, where the government has received a total sum of 1,437.5 metric tons of assorted grains approved by the federal government to be distributed to the vulnerable groups in the state to cushion the effect of the current economic realities. The assorted grains were formally presented to the Niger State Governor, Mohammed Umar Bago, by the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umar in Mina. Husseina Musa reports.
Handing over of the grains to the state is in fulfillment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's promise to reduce the impact of the current economic realities being experienced in the country. The assorted grains received in Niger State include 50 kilograms of 11,000 bags of maize, 13,000 bags of sorghum, and 4,750 bags of millet. The food items are expected to be shared equally to all the 25 local government areas of the state, while 20% of their allocation is to be given to religious organizations and 3% to boarding schools domiciled in the areas. After the formal presentation of the food items, the Director General, NEMA, Zubaida Umar, disclosed that 12 local government areas of the state are at high flood risks, according to the 2024 seasonal climate prediction and the annual flood outlook.
Though climate change has been largely blamed for this increasing phenomenon, it is our responsibility as government and people to evolve strategies to minimize losses through adherence to warning alerts, early preparation, and proper response.
We understand the advantage of early warning, and a committee will be inaugurated for this early warning of expected flood.
Symbolic presentation of the assorted grains to the deserving beneficiaries was also performed by Governor Mohammed Umar Bago, assisted by the Director General, NEMA, Zubaida Umar. In Mina, Husseina Musa, NTA News.
Looking at other issues now, to further strengthen collaboration, management of the NTA and the Federal Inland Revenue Service have agreed to renew their existing Memorandum of Understanding. Both organizations came to the agreement when Broadcast Media Unit of the FIRS paid a visit on the DG NTA. Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos. Deborah Bala Bobo reports.
Federal Inland Revenue Service has in recent times continued to boost its services and raise non-oil generated revenue, mostly through taxes. The FIRS team, led by Director Communication Liaison Department Abdullahi Ismail, informed the DG NTA that the service is determined to reactivate the partnership as its broadcast media unit is committed to scale up its public enlightenment activities. This is in the area of raising public awareness on tax obligations and services rendered by the FIRS are augmenting the nation's economy.
This provides us with a good opportunity to relate with NTA. I know the relationship has been good. We signed an MOU with the NTA in 2021, and we are working to strengthen that MOU again and to include some other issue areas that will be of mutual interest to both parties.
As you know, the current government is very big on taxation affairs, and we want to prioritize some of our events that will cover.
Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, who described the visit as a family meeting, assured that NTA is ready to reawaken the existing relationship to help promote its robust activities, especially regarding taxes.
We can sustain the relationship. Then came your call that you want to pay us a visit with a view to taking a look at how we can sustain it. I think it's a very good initiative, and we want to assure you that we'll be ready to collaborate with you.
The DJ promised to strengthen the relationship to the satisfaction of both parties. Deborah Balagbobo, NTA News.
The federal government of Nigeria has accused Benin's chief executive officer, Richard Teng, of false allegations of bribery against unidentified Nigerian government officials, who he claimed demanded $150 million in cryptocurrency payments to resolve the ongoing criminal investigation against the company. A statement by Rabiu Ibrahim, the special assistant on media to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, says the claim by Binance CEO is nothing but a diversionary tactic, that an attempted act of blackmail by a company desperate to obfuscate the grievous criminal charges it is facing in Nigeria. The facts, he added, remains that Binance is being investigated in Nigeria for allowing its platform to be used for money laundering, terrorism, financing, and foreign exchange manipulation through illegal trading. Time for another break. Remain tuned. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says all living souls belongs to Almighty Allah, and only He can take them. The president said this in a message when the federal government delegation paid a condolence visit to the former governor of Niger State, Muazu Babangida Aliyu, over the death of his mother. Salihu Gwanara reports.
The family compound of the former governor of Niger State, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu in Minna, the Niger State capital, has been playing host to dignitaries from far and near since the demise of his mother, Jamila Aliyu. The federal government delegation is the latest among the sympathizers. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, led the delegation to offer special prayer for the peaceful repose of the soul of the deceased, who they described as a mother of all.
سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد
President has asked us to condole them and to ask them to take solace in the fact that Mama lived a good life. She died at ripe old age, and she will be remembered for all her contributions to society.
We do hope that she will find comfort in Al-Jannah Firdaus. And we also pray that the entire family and all Nigerians under the leadership of the governor, the executive governor, will also take solace in the fact that it is an act of God.
So our prayer is that the family should take solace in God for what he has done. Because God tells us that in everything we should give thanks to him, whether good or bad.
Yes, we want to thank Mr. President, my father, for this delegation and for the condolences. And that we pray that God will continue to bear the family the fortitude to bear this loss.
Musa Dangogo Aliu, on behalf of the family of the deceased, thanked President Bola Tinubu for the visit. The team also visited the governor of Niger State, Muhammad Umar Bago, in Mina. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Let's now take a quick peep at the weather outlook for Thursday.
Welcome to the weather forecast. We expect a relatively quiet morning across the country, though we have chances of early morning thunderstorms to parts of Taraba, Imo, and the coastal cities. Better prospect of thunderstorms are expected later in the day across the southern region and most parts of the central cities, as well as parts of Taraba, Adamawa, Bauchi, Gombe, and Kaduna. Next is the air quality index and temperature forecast across some selected cities. I'm Sefia Sen Musa. Thank you for watching.
Many thanks, Sophia, for the weather outlook, and that's News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. Have a good night.